Many games have their own big mod. Dryya has Calamity, The Binding of Isaac had Anti-Birth which turned into DLC, but now it has Revelations. Dawn Storm has Uncompromising Mode and Island Adventures. The Endless Night has Shutter Spectrum, and Hollow Knight has Pale Court. Pale Court is the biggest mod Hollow Knight has ever had, and I recently got to play it a bit, and I have some thoughts on bosses which were added. So starting with Mighty Hegemol. Mighty Hegemol was the great knight which had his armor stolen by a little maggot. To enter the fight with Mighty Hegemol, you gotta go to his statue at the entrance to City of Tears. And the fight with Mighty Hegemol is basically a remix of Failed Champion. I would still say Mighty Hegemol is much more difficult than a Failed Champion, has a lot more attacks, is probably the most difficult boss in the whole Pale Court mod, and one thing I would change about this boss fight definitely would be the background. I'm not saying it's ugly, but I'm saying that because it distracted me a lot, and debris which Hegemol can throw to the direction of the player were blending with the background so much. It was a terrible visibility and I was most times hidden by it. Either the background should be more static or the debris should be brighter for a better visibility. And when I was fighting Hegemol the first time, he gave me a lot of trouble. I don't remember the last time a boss took me so much trouble. Wait, actually I remember. Savage Beast Fly on Lava Arena in 4 fields, but like in Hollow Knight. I still think Hegemol has some problems. I don't know, I can't enjoy fighting with Hegemol. Boss is really difficult. I would definitely remove the attack when he can put his mace in the ground and throw debris at the player, cause dodging that felt impossible. Defeating Mighty Hegemol rewards the player with Boon Of Hallownest charm, which turns all spells into pure form, and it takes a total of 5 charm notches, if I remember correctly, and I think those spells look really cool and are relatively strong. If you're playing on Pale Court and going for a spell build, take it really strong and really flashy as well. Second boss is Mr. Ze'mer. Mr. Ze'mer is, well, in modern day Hallownest was a Grey Mourner, but she turned into a mask shot. Mr. Ze'mer fight feels much easier than Hegemol. I mean, the main difficulty of Hegemol is double damage. It makes it that much difficult, and I had to equip Quick Focus for... I used Quick Focus for all of those fights from this mod. And I think Mr. Ze'mer, out of all of those bosses, feels plain the most. It doesn't feel like the fight progresses a lot. Hegemol has 3 phases of the fight. Kinda like Isma has 3 stages of the fight. Fierce Dryya has 2, but Ze'mer feels like there is only 1. From those bosses I like Ze'mer the least. And another thing I don't like about Ze'mer is how bright the arena is. It's literally Discord White theme experience. I don't like this arena at all. Defeating Mr. Ze'mer rewards the player with a Lament charm, which at the cost of 2 charm notches gives an explosion upon focus, so it's basically Splash Room but on steroids. So basically it's useful as much as you heal, so if you don't heal it's basically a waste of 2 notches. And I think the explosion could have been a bit bigger because it's really small, and at the place of 2 charm notches there are better things I can put there, like Sharp Shadow. Third boss is kindly Isma, which is found well in Isma's grove when you find her tear. From all of those arenas, I think kindly Isma is one of the prettiest one. It looks really pretty. First phase of the fight with kindly Isma is on a wide arena with full litters on the ground and gulkars on the walls, which makes it feel a bit like a minefield, but it's still really manageable. I would say it's pretty fun. Second phase is on a tighter arena, so it's basically a bit harder to manage. However, full eaters are no longer a threat, and gulkas shoot from the ceiling instead of walls, and is pretty problematic. In this phase, Isma also gains an attack, and she can create vines which block the knight from going through them. It's kinda like those thorns from Sister Splinter, and she can also smash thorns all over the arena. And third phase is basically the same as the second one, but with thorns on the side of the arena. And when I was fighting with Isma for the first time, she was really tough to beat, but now that I fought her again, I actually really had fun fighting with Isma. Aside of Golkas, because those I would totally remove the heck out of the universe, I think Isma is a really cool boss to fight. Upon defeating Isma, Knight is rewarded with upgrade to Defender's Crest called King's Honor, which is basically what Defender's Crest is, because well, it's an upgrade. From what I think, it probably deals more damage and has a bigger area of effect. And last but not least is Fierce Dryya. Fierce Dryya is found, well, her corpse is in Queen's Garden next to White Lady's Cocoon. And out of all of those arenas for those bosses, Fierce Dryya is my absolute favorite one because it looks clean, it's not destructive, and it makes the boss really enjoyable to fight with. I would say Fierce Dryya is the only one of those bosses which would need to deal double damage to feel challenging, because Fierce Dryya is really easy to beat. I didn't have problems with her on my first time fight with her, and when I was fighting for this video, I beat her ass on the first try, so not a great score for her. First phase of her fight is basically like a duel. Every now and then she can go into stagger, and every time she ends stagger, she instantly makes a dash towards the knight. So when I was healing during her fight, I was always making sure that I was focusing my soul as far away as possible from her to avoid getting hit and losing the mask I just healed. I would say the second stage of the fight is basically like fighting Nail Sage Sly. It's chaotic, but really pretty easy and manageable. Defeating Fierce Dryya rewards the knight with a charm called Mark of Purity. Mark of Purity allows to auto swing for the nail, so basically you can just walk around Hallownest and hold the attack button, and attacking also increases the speed of nail swings, so in good hands it can totally be a monster of a charm. Well, I talked about all bosses, but there is one challenge that is served by the mod, and it's the Abyss parkour. To get to the Abyss parkour, you gotta go to the place in the Abyss where you can find the journal entry for Void Tendrils and smash the ceiling. What I really like about it is that it's hinting that it's there, because when you walk to the room with it, you can see that the ceiling is collapsing. It's so good. One tip for anyone who haven't played the mod yet, I think, always get Dash Master with you, because downward dash is important, and don't you dare to take Sharp Shadow, because it will make your life miserable here. Jumping challenges, the jumping parkour circles around Shadow Dash, and in some places a downward one, so it was pretty difficult to do, and a lot of time I pogoed myself into the spikes. I don't even need a Mark of Pride to do it, those tunnels are just so tight. But I think it's pretty fun challenge. Is it as fun as Path of Pain? No, but it's pretty fun though. Finishing it rewards the player with Abyssal Bloom charm, which is Fury of the Fallen, but a bit different. Abyssal Bloom increases the damage of the nail swing. For every mask lost, Abyssal Bloom increases the damage of the nail swing until the one mask when all of the attacks become Void Tendrils. So as long as you can keep yourself on one mask, you can destroy everything, but it's basically like Fury of the Fallen, but you can still get a nice damage output even without going all down to one mask. However, the charm cost for Abyssal Bloom is huge because it's 5 notches. What I really like about all those bosses is that all bosses got a journal entry with a note from Ogrim. It's so cool, I like it a lot. However, defeating the boss in Hallownest doesn't close a way to the dream, so you can refight the boss in Hallownest and also refight the bosses in Godhome. In Godhome, Ogrim's statue will raise up and a door will be open to a subsection of Hall of Gods where you can refight all 4 bosses from this mod and take your chance at the Champion's Call, which is basically a Pantheon but with 5 Great Knights, 4 with those mod and White Defender. And now final thoughts. Court is a mod which has a lot of care put into it. There is even an exclusive menu for this mod which is really stunning. I'm not gonna lie, it looks better than most official menus we get from Team Cherry, and bosses feel really vanilla friendly. I mean, they feel like they could be an official DLC for Hollow Knight, but with some changes added to them, cause some aspects of some bosses make them feel like a bullshit, like Hegemol throwing a debris at the knight. It's pretty bullshit attack. Golkas during Isma's fight were my least favorite aspect of the fight, cause they made the fight much more difficult and chaotic. Charms added in this mod are pretty strong, but they have huge charm cost, and I personally didn't play with them a lot cause I personally don't have a place for those charms in my builds. Vessel's Lament is a charm I wouldn't use a lot anyway cause it's basically explosion on focus or King's Honor. It doesn't seem that useful to me. Maybe for Colosseum someone would use it, but it requires beating up Isma's ass in her dream, in her memory. Mark of Purity is for people who have a really brutal and aggressive playstyle, which is not mine, so it's not a charm I would personally use, but I think it's a monster in good hands. Abyssal Bloom is a risky charm to play with, but I think it's a really high reward for the risk taken. However, the huge charm cost is really off-putting to me, and out of all of those charms, I think I like Boon of Hallownest the most. All those spells are stronger, look cooler, is basically so good, should be just an upgrade. I mean, it couldn't be an upgrade because it would be too strong, but those look awesome. And I'm glad I played the mod, because I think on the first fight with those bosses I was pretty annoyed while fighting them. Maybe it was because I was sick, maybe not, but when I was fighting Hegemol I was really, I would say pretty angry, I would say. Now that I refought all of those bosses, I can actually really enjoy this mod quite much. Have you played God? Let me know what you think of the mod down below. See ya!